Welcome back to Your Next Move with Luann and Erica. I'm here in North Carolina at Caldwell Banker HPW.
And I'm with Wycott Realtors, Livingston, New Jersey.
Listen, I am your triangle real estate guide go-to. I like to say a go-to. My friend always like to say, I'm your go-to for the triangle real estate. I want to be your go-to in Chapel Hill, North
I
Carolina.
want to be your guru.
I want to be your guru.
Guru.
Today's episode is one I could honestly talk to you about forever. It's renovate or pass. When is a project actually worth it? And how you can make it absolutely not worth it by picking the wrong things to do. So here we
Stay
go.
away from those money pits.
Yeah, and also you got to make smart choices that'll make you back money before you spend $50,000 on a renovation or before you walk away from a house because it needs work. You need to ask yourself one question. Will the market give you that money back? Will you get it back? And today we're going to show you exactly how to answer that question. So
Right.
we're going to break down those secrets.
Let's break it down.
Break it down. You have any good stories to start it off? Epiphany bridge story. Like let's think about it.
Oh God, yeah. There was a house in Bloomfield that this first-time home buyer. It was a massive house on a corner, and it had like a retaining wall that was like falling apart. And the retaining wall alone, I think, cost about $30,000, and that was years ago. It's probably more like 50 to 75 now, but there was a retaining wall that needed to be really done. And she loved the house. She liked the charm. It was like an older 1929, I'd say, colonial. And she absolutely loved the house, and they were planning on renovating it. And I was just like a little on the fence with it, since I was like, well, you're new to, your first time home buyers might be a bit more than you can chew, but they felt that they could handle it. We were, walking along on trying to get, this deal going. And then we had to bring in contractors, and you have to find out like how much things cost. And then we could have done like the 203K loan, but how that's structured is you have to go and get like estimates on the electric, the plumbing, the roof, the sheetrock, any kind of, if you're adding a bathroom or if you're fixing the basement, if there's water, which there was water in this thing, so that thing there was a lot of mold. And then, like I said, the exterior, it needed, like outside stuff, but mainly that retaining wall. And it wound up to be so much money, and I think it overstepped the boundaries of the value, because the bank, because I believe it was a foreclosure, the bank wanted so much money for, a non-living house.
Right,
And then
right.
if you put on like, I think it was like $150,000, and back then it was expensive because it really needed to be gutted. It was really old. It wasn't even livable. And then
Right.
and then there was a garage, but that's a whole other issue. But then we came to the conclusion that it really was too much for them, especially as first time home buyers. And I wound up selling them a house in Clifton that was more move-in ready, a little bit more expensive, but at least they didn't have to go through the headaches of, getting, that thing, as far as the renovation going, because it is, it is like a process. Because once you get like your contractors, you have to hire an adjuster, an FHA adjuster, and they're like the go-between. So the contractor comes in, gives their price on everything that needs to be done, and that thing has to be itemized. Then the adjuster, the FHA adjuster or the inspector, he comes in, and then he could add things that we didn't see that need to be done. So then it has to get readjusted. That's why it's like the adjuster, because you take, you give. A lot of the times they're adding. So the adjuster came, and that's $700 for that adjuster. and then you have to pay him the 7, and then every time, like, they pull drawers, like, it's broken up, I think, in like 5 stages. You do the demolition is the first stage, so they go and they demo out the walls, the electric, the plumbing, and it's like a shell, almost like a shell, all depending what they're demoing. This was a major demo. And then you had to bring in, the stages from there. Once it was demoed, then you have to bring them in. They have to take photos. The adjuster comes in, and then they
You didn't do that, but you know the process.
It's a lengthy process.
It's a very lengthy process.
It's a lot of drama.
I met somebody yesterday, and you basically told me, tell them to run.
Run.
I'll
Get
post
your
a video
sneakers
later.
on and run.
That says you got to reframe it. So sometimes you go into a house and it's got like dated bathrooms, kitchens, but you see that the bones of the house is good, right?
Right.
And then you basically have your realtor do an assessment to figure out, like, if we did these things, how much would the house be worth, right? I mean, you can look at the neighborhood and look at different houses that have higher value than yours, that have the new countertops, that have the new kitchens, baths, and you can kind of see where your property is headed.
Right.
So it's always nice to have the worst house on an awesome block, to me. Like, don't run from it if it needs work. In this market, sometimes people don't want things that need work because things are costing a lot more to get done these days. So people don't see it. But if you get it for a good price, and you're able to just do things like that, they could buy a home, put $35,000 in the targeted updates. They have to be targeted, and then you're sitting on roughly $90,000 in instant equity based on comparable sales. Then it's a good deal.
Exactly.
And that's something. And it's not that's not a renovation. That's strategy.
Right. And the most important part of this aspect is getting the house for a good price. The moment you're overpaying for a fixer-upper property, you've lost the rest.
And still, the sellers of a fixer-upper property think their house is worth more than it is.
I mean, it's unreal. I think at the time it was about $350, and that was a lot of money. And then there was like $125,000, and $30,000 of that $150,000 was going to the retaining wall.
Yeah, something.
And then there's contingencies. So there are things that maybe you don't see. I did a flip in Rutherford back in 2015, and there was a contingency for the electric, but we were just going to add on to the old electric. And then once we got behind the walls, because you won't see that as you're doing like an eye contact, and even a home inspection, you have to get behind the walls. And then we saw the detail of the electrical system, which was a fire hazard. So we weren't going to say, oh, no, we're not going to do that. We don't have a contingency. Luckily, we had a contingency in place. And that contingency was used for $30,000 to strip down all the electric and put all new electric in the house. I was not going to sell a house with faulty electric just to save money.
All right, well, let's talk about the secret. Secret 1, the false belief is you need a move-in ready home. And I do believe that the best equity is built in homes that are overlooked.
Yes.
Right? That you don't see it. But just like you said, make sure that the value is in there and that you don't overpay.
Right.
And then there's an internal belief that you don't know enough about renovations to take on that risk. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But you need the right questions and the right team, not a contractor's license. So good thing is you can use a realtor and their resources to find you right contractors that they've worked with before. Hopefully, like at our firm, we have what's called Roses and Raspberries list. And there's all these contractors in there that people can vouch for. And I used one last time, the project that I just did where the house is under contract. I used that list. My realtor friends gave me a list of contractors. I still took 3 bids per every job.
That's standard.
And I priced it.
3.
Yeah, I priced it. And do you know I came in, and not to brag, but under budget and on time, my friend.
Yeah, you
know
go.
what I'm saying? And the things that we improved were not major items, but they put enough in there where it looked amazing. I
Right.
mean, we had to pull in the heartstrings. Like if you look underneath it, yeah, okay, we got some things that still need to be done, but that's not something that that's not something a buyer should run from, because these are not major things, that need
Right.
to be done, and the house is completely livable. You can see that it's beautiful and the bones were good. So
Right.
these are
And then
things.
and it was in a good area,
Good
because
area,
like you said,
location, location, location,
location,
right?
location, the
Every
best
house in that
house,
block,
the
the
best
good news is
neighborhood,
yeah,
makes the
every house
best
in that
house.
block is over 1 million that they're surrounded by.
Right.
So, I think they got a great deal, but
I
this
think
market
so
is
too. I happen
wild.
to agree with you on that one,
Thank
Erica.
you, but we got to close on it, so it
Well,
will. They
ABC.
always be closing. No, it's going to close because if they run from this is a great deal. So,
No,
uh,
it's gonna close.
yeah.
It's
So,
gonna close.
anyway,
They
so you
got a
always
good deal. They hung in tight. They were around. I think it's gonna close.
Yeah. So anyway, renovating, there's also a false belief that renovating always adds value. That's not necessarily true, just like you said,
Yeah.
with the wall. We came into our house, we had rented it out for 6 years, this house. And when we came back, we had to do some serious things. And unfortunately, not all of them were cosmetic. Some of it was things that had to be done, like, what do you call it? It's not the fancy stuff. Like we had to, like our water heater our tankless water heater wasn't working.
Right.
We had 3 different textures on the floor. We had tile breaking apart. It was at that point, it was an older home. And
Right.
we had rented it out for 6 years. The water flow wasn't going right, and there was a slight moldy odor in the basement. So,
Now you can't ignore that, because that could turn to like serious mold issues.
we put a French drain system in the basement, commercial grade dehumidifier. We didn't replace the tankless. We got a commercial grade water heater where everything's flowing. We replaced the floors and matched them. That was good. But certain things you would want to do, like remodel the kitchen and the baths,
Right.
had to go out the window because we had to spend money on the function of the house.
Right. A lot of different contingencies. There's always a contingency wherever you go. Don't think you're going to go into a project without contingencies.
So when you say contingencies, if somebody doesn't know what you're talking about, what are you talking about?
Well, things that you haven't thought about, or concerned yourself, or something that may not have hit you in the process of going through the items that you were planning on doing. And that's why they have like this middleman adjuster that goes in and makes sure that everything needs to be done that needs to be done. So maybe you weren't planning on upgrading like the plumbing, but the plumbing needs to be done. That's a contingency.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you thought the roof, you can get like, hey, maybe this roof isn't so
Oh.
bad,
Our
right?
roof was bad. We had to get a new roof. It was leaking everywhere.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Right. And a lot of the times, maybe you don't see it, because we went up to the roof and there was a hole like this, but it was under, I would say, maybe where the soffits were, but it was going down into the property, but not necessarily over the roof where it was visible. It was like
Right.
rotting from the inside that we didn't see.
And
So-
we had a lot of rotten wood that had not been replaced, and you couldn't even start painting the house until you got that done.
And here's another one that we didn't even think of, and it's invisible. The piping was old. It was piping since, like, say, the early 1900s, and
Whoa.
it was leaking, and that was causing the basement to leak or to flood upward, because it came from the ground up. We had to dig and take out all the pipes from the basement floor and put new PVC pipes in. That was a huge contingency that we had to do.
You didn't know.
No, it's invisible. And, there's water that comes in. You're thinking it's coming from the outside, but you won't know it until you go through it and you see it and you analyze it. And then you have people or professionals that are there and saying, hey, I think this is a problem. We're going to have to dig up the floor and see if this pipe is cracked, which it was. And they're old pipes.
Okay,
I
when
mean,
should you, well, since you say this, listen, when should you absolutely, I got a rapid fire. Let's do a quick rapid fire.
okay.
Situations you would tell a buyer to pass on a renovation project entirely. Foundation issues that haven't been professionally assessed. Until you have a structural engineer's report and real number, you cannot model the investment. You can't. Walk away and get that report first.
Yes, yes. The structure is everything, and you know, once there's a crack in the foundation and the structure is compromised, it's going to cost. It could be 50,000, 100,000. You know, to bring the house back, and there goes most of your, your budget money into renovating the house, and plus, you want to make sure you get a structurally sound property. And anyway, there's many in the market. Go on to the next.
Yeah, on to the next. The thing is, I went to a house the other day, which I'm gonna post. It's so funny. It's like I have it's haunted house, I call it, and the floors were all dipping. I was like, you're gonna have to get an structural engineer for that to see what's going
And
on.
then they're not cheap. Those
No, they're not
structural
cheap at all.
engineers.
So, permit problems, unpermitted additions, illegal conversions, work that has been done without inspection. These can become your legal problem the
That's
moment
right.
you close. So always pull the permits before you buy something.
Yeah, do an Oprah request. You could do it on any online, in the town website, and you just put Oprah requests, open permits. You have to be very specific.
I can usually find the permits online through the city.
You have to be very specific. Well, over here we have to request it. You're not going to find it online. You have to request it, and you
here I
have to
can
be very
find them.
specific.
Fine.
Yeah.
Most of the things I can find, if you tell me you did something, I should be able to see. If you put a new HVAC in the basement, I should be able to see the electrical permit on site on the website. It should be. If you did an addition or any kind of structural repair, I should be able to see the permit online. Here, we can see it.
Yeah, not here. We have to request it
Okay.
in writing.
And then renovation costs that exceed 20% of the after repair value. If the home is worth 400,000, update it, and you need $100,000 in worth. The math is getting very tight. Run those numbers extremely carefully and make sure that you're going to get your money back, right?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
And then any project where you can't get reliable contractor estimates before closing. If you are guessing on costs, you're gambling on the return. Don't guess.
No, everything has to be very outlined and specific on spending, and then you have to add in your contingencies on everything, because one doesn't know if something was missed, and every little thing that is not done, down to the light, down to, this light switch, the outlet, it costs you more money, more money. No one's going to say, oh, we're not going to charge for that. We'll just add it in. It's not. Every little thing that you do is going to cost you more and more money.
To pass on a property is not a failure. Pass is a strategy. So.
Yes, it is. Unless you're going to get a really good deal on the house from the gate.
Right.
Pass.
Right. So call to action is if you love today's episode, like, subscribe, and share. You're thinking differently. I hope you're thinking differently about fixer-uppers and renovation projects. We have something for you. Let us know if you want more information. Message us Renovate, and we will give you more information, give you a little renovation ROI cheat sheet. How about that? We can send that to them.
Absolutely. We can give you some cheat sheets.
Some cheat sheets are in the thing, so like, subscribe, and share. Message us if you need a cheat sheet for your return on investment. We are happy to help in New Jersey and in North Carolina. If you know somebody's on the fence about a fixer-upper, have them contact us. We've done it before, and we can do it again.
Absolutely.
Signing out from Your Next Move with Erica and
Lou Ann Jones.
see you later, guys.
See you next